Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the brand newly buffed Japanese tier 10 heavy tank, the Type 5 Heavy. Now it's a tank that definitely needed some love because it was not that great beforehand. It was slow, the guns were derpy, they didn't really have much DPM. They really did need some love, and to be honest, what they've got, or what this tank's got and received is nice. And the changes to the 14cm gun are definitely very nice, but the 15cm gun make this tank extremely memey. Extremely. I have 3 mods. I really enjoyed the grind through. These are just 3 of the games on the road. This isn't the 3rd mod video for it yet. But there was many memes, many pens. It was funny as hell. Was it great to play against? Probably not. I don't think the balance changes to this 15cm gun are that good for the game, honestly, because it's just extreme RNG, and basically you can play your tank right and still get extremely punished. So basically, what has changed for this tank? Well, first of all, it gained more horsepower, so it gained from 1200 to 1500. Its hull armour went from 260 to 270, which is nice. Its upper hull corners went from 250 to 270. The 14cm gun got buffed. Not enough in the DPM department for me. The accuracy got buffed from 0.5 to 0.45 on the 15cm. And the damage went from 1100 to 1300. As well as some of the turret shot dispersions when turning the turret got a bit more accurate. Its after shot dispersions got a bit better, so when you fired the gun didn't bloom as much. And the penetration of the premium round went from 264 to 330. Now, the big change for this gun is the 1300 damage. And this is where it gets to the point of you didn't need to buff that so much as just make the gun a little bit more competitive in terms of its other round and the reload and the bit of the accuracy, because this gun was definitely the inferior one to the 14cm before the change. But now this gun is the one you'd want to pick, and this is why I'm focusing on this gun, not the 14cm, because the 14cm changes are nice, but it's not as significant as the changes to this gun, because 1300 hits a lot, right? It's a big number to hit for, but when you slap people, Q shot, please hit. Of course it didn't do anything, because why would you ever show exactly what I was about to talk about? Thanks, game. Yeah, because when you shoot people in the face, you will be shooting them in the face for like 500? Yeah, 483 to the side of the T54 Mod 1. We didn't have to aim, we just snapped the shot in, fired, hit him, 483. I don't think this is particularly balanced, because a tank can side scrape, and you can slap it exactly how it's supposed to be playing, and you'll just hit it in the back end of the tank and do like 500 damage. 562 casualty to the top of that guy's turret. The HE just adds a massive pain of RNG to it. And actually, to be honest, for me, when I was playing this tank, it was actually pretty consistent in rolling for between 400 and 600 on most tanks. When you were facing heavily armoured tanks, you had to pick where you were going to shoot to be able to do that sort of damage. So like if you were shooting a mouse, for example, you'd shoot it in the turret cheeks, but just below the middle of them so that it splashes down on the engine deck, and you'll end up doing like 500 to 600 damage easy every single time to that tank. And he has to penetrate you. And if he's using the mouse gun with it's only like what 240 something pen, he won't penetrate you frontally. He has to fire premium at you, which the frontal armor thing is nice because the Type 5 Heavy was butter to every single tank, and 6.0 RNG destroyed it as well. But with the plus 20 minus 20 pen RNG that we've got now, the armor definitely works a lot easier as well, which is good. That was a buff to the Type 5 in itself. But yeah, I'm not sure it's a good change for the game for the tier 10, because like I say, like you will do everything right and this tank will just drive along, blap you for 500, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't angle any better, you can't play any better against it. It will just wreck you. And you hit lightly, I mean, you're hitting highly armoured targets for like 400 to 500. You hit really lightly armoured targets for a hell of a lot. Some of the pens over 1300 are filthy and funny as, which is something that was quite a meme. as we're going to try and get this. Will we get this T100 LT? It's like, hello, T100 LT, how's it going? 1032. It's fine. Yep, it's fine. It's okay. You know? And, yeah, it's just what it is. I'd say I don't think, really, it's not a good thing for the game, personally. But, anyway. That's just my opinion on the changes to this gun. I think the changes to the 14cm are pretty good. I just don't think they were quite good enough. I think maybe a little bit more off that reload and it would have been fine. But this gun is filthy, and it was filthy enough for me to enjoy it all the way. Like I say, I really enjoyed playing it with this gun. I thought it was hilarious. Driving along, just blapping people, and, you know, penning them as well. For 1300. I think, as much as it's going to be a bit more fun to play, I think it's going to be a bit detrimental to gameplay, really. But anyway, this battle, I've got myself in a really awkward position. And we missed the E50. But thankfully, the Dragon finishes off the E50, and now we're in a 1v1 duel with a tier 8 tank. And this IS-3 is obviously more mobile than I am. I'm never going to be able to keep going around with him. And he's got the flank on me, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the shot in. I can actually pen him if I get the shot in between his tracks, but the likelihood is very low, and we don't manage to do it. But we do manage to do a hefty amount of damage to his side and break his engine, so I'm going to reverse side scrape off of this building here, because he doesn't have very much pen, right? And if I angle it right, he's going to really struggle to pen me. He does end up bouncing on me. This ST1 is now coming in, and it's like, okay, this is awkward. This is awkwardo. I am going to try and keep this building in between me and the IS-3 so the IS-3 can't finish me off. I'm watching the angle to make sure he won't get a shot at me. Go for this ST1, make the play to kill him and finish him off, get him out of the game, and then keep the buildings between me and that IS-3. The Barask is around and about, so we've just got to be careful of that. This IS-3 is now driving through. If I keep this guy to my front, well, he's not going to pen me. But doesn't matter. We do manage to finish off the IS-3. And we've come out of this really awkward situation on top, which is nice. So now it's just me here in this situation. There's this Barask, and I'm thinking, right, I've just got to hit him. We fired just a little bit too far in front, and unfortunately, we end up getting finished off by the artillery, which is really frustrating. But it is what it is. Our team managed to finish off the game, and we finished with 6 kills, 4.6k damage, ace tanker, high caliber, the top gun. 1531 base XP. Like I say, we've got the top gun. Not a nice game generally for the Type 5. Not the best, but it kind of showed off what the tank can do now with its 1300 gun, in the fact that it just splashes so disgustingly, to be honest. But like I say, it was really fun to play through. To play against, I'm not sure, however. But I've not really faced too many yet, that when I wasn't in my own Type 5 Heavy. Because that's the funny thing. Obviously, shooting another Type 5 Heavy in the face, you're doing like 300, 400. If you face a Type 4 Heavy, the poor Type 4 Heavy, you shoot it in the face, you do 500 to it. What could it do? You're not even penning it. It's just big and fat and easy to hit, and you're still doing like a ton of damage. Yeah. So we're on the second game, and we're on steps, right? And steps encounter no less. And I decide, you know what? Instead of going to the cap, because I'm slow, I just want to get on the front line. And, oh, that poor Waffle. That poor Waffle. Anyway, I'm on the front line. I'm just going to go to the heavy tank area and brawl and duke it out. Because this is going to be the perfect place. If they send enough people here, we're just going to be in a full-on brawl where I can just keep lobbing HE. So this 277 pulls out. We slap a shot into him for 477. Or something around that. Might be 444, actually. But anyway, we slap him. We don't even have to aim. That's the thing. We don't have to aim. We can just go bang. Like that, 498. It's sort of a no-skill RNG cannon, is the way I'd put it. The only skill, really, is knowing what you can and can't pen. Like this Tiger 2, for example, or King Tiger. 1250 through the side, because I knew I could pen the back end of his tank. Because it's just a slight weakness in his tank. It's like 80mm thick or something along those lines. I've got 85mm of pen, so I can pen it. And when he gave me a side like that, easy. Oh ho! Splash underneath him, 545, because the armour's actually fairly thin underneath his tank, therefore you'll splash for a hell of a lot. So I'll do more damage shooting underneath a tank than I will shooting it in the face at times. And that's what we did to the oh ho. The oh ho gets finished off by the artillery, and it's like, okay, there's a Type 4 over there. We slap him for 544. He slaps us with the same gun. Straight in the face. We didn't really have to aim it. We just went, oh, tank, bang. You see what I'm saying, right? This is not really a good balanced thing to have. Like the previous 1100 gun splashed for, if you were looking at heavily armoured targets, you were splashing for like 200 to 300, lightly armoured targets 400 to 500, which meant that for consistency's sake, 14cm was the way to go, because the 14cm you were always going to hit people. You were going to do like 500, 560, even though it's 600 alpha gun, but that was 6.0 RNG. Nowadays you are definitely going to be doing about 600 consistently, which is nice, but you have to pen the target, whereas this tank you consistently splash him for 500 against most targets, and you don't have to aim, you don't have to worry about a bounce, you just hit, or you just have to worry about hitting generally. This FV4005 is my dream right now. I want him, and he pulls out and we hit the gun, the only part we couldn't pen. Oh, that was a 1300 pen incoming, but unfortunately we couldn't quite get it. And we're just going to keep progressing. We've managed to push through the flank pretty well. I'm sorry, Total Mayhem. The pleb here is getting penned in the back. 500 there. Finish him off. There's just the FV4005 left on this flank, and he gets shut down by the Leopard 1. The one thing I did forget to mention is how I set this tank up after going through the buffs. And that is I run the vert stabs, because you need it, trust me. I thought maybe I'll try running without the vert stabs and run other stuff, but no, vert stabs is definitely needed. Optics, rammer as well, because you want the view range to be as high as possible. You don't want to get out spotted in this thing, because you will always get spotted yourself. So make it that you will be able to spot the enemy team easily enough. And obviously rammer to make the reload better, because the reload isn't that good generally, so making the reload better is the nice thing to do for it. In terms of the crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, and Rapid Aim, I think it's called. Yeah, Rapid Aim. The 10% increase to turret and gun rotation speed, because the turret turns very slowly. English, it's hard. Yeah, the turret turns slowly, so I thought, you know what, let's make it 10% better. I think it buffs it from 26 to 28 or 29, something like that. You do notice the difference. It's definitely nicer. It helps when you're getting circled, for sure, because you can just get the turret snapped onto target a lot quicker. So, we're on the final game, and we're on Chabang, and yeah, I am going to drive for a little bit, because, well, that's just what you do on these Cold War maps. It's just what it is what it is. Honestly, the engine buffs, the extra horsepower that this tank gets is something that you shouldn't underestimate. Like, you may think 200 extra isn't much, but actually this tank really struggled to hit 25 and 24. It was stuck at like 22 to 23, so being able to go that extra kilometre or two an hour faster and just helping it and stuff like that really is actually very helpful. And it's one of the noticeable things I've had while playing the tank is the fact that I feel just that little bit extra bit manoeuvrable, and that is really nice. So on this map I'm thinking I'm going to go towards the town area, because the town area is where I can get stuck in, I can hide behind the buildings, I can pop round black people, that sort of thing. And this Panzerwagen appears, it's like, hello. I'm not quite sure how that hit, but it did, and it was dirty. We hit him for 1178, penned him, finished him off. As far as my aim was, it was literally just about a little bit above him, because we were just coming over the top of the ridgeline, but we'll take it. We'll take it, it's fine. We'll take it, 1100 hit to that guy. So yeah, anyway, if I'm in a heavy tank and we get the spawns we did, I do like to get towards the town, because this little town area is a nice sort of brawling location for tanks like the Type 5, because you can stay safe. You can, like I say, pop round corners, get shots out, pull back to safety. A lot of other areas on this map, for a tank like the Type 5, are areas where you're going to end up poking out, getting spotted, not being able to spot the tanks in the foliage, and yeah, it's not going to be a pleasant experience generally. But again, it completely depends on how the enemy team plays the map as well, because the enemy team generally either just drive straight down the 9 line and you end up running into loads of tanks, or they push straight across the AB line. It's either one, and it's really awkward sometimes depending on how they play it. And It's one of the reasons I don't like the Cold War maps, because all the Cold War maps are exactly the same in that regard, in the fact that the teams generally get down one flank for the most part. Most of the teams will go down one flank. And if you go the wrong way, especially in something like the Type 5 Heavy, you end up just not being able to do much. So right here, we're going after this Tiger 2. We're getting shot in the back by a 53 TP, and he can't do anything about it. And right now, I'd been mucking about with the ammo changer. That's what I'd swapped out for vert stabs, and that's when I realised the gun stabiliser was really needed. I did have the ammo changer on, and that's where I made the mistake here. I ended up loading heat because I just think, oh, you know what, heat would be great for this Tiger 2 right now. Because the way he's angled, I could just pen him with the heat and do some significant consistent damage. We ended up penning him, setting him on fire, but that's after we had to go through the 14 to 15 second reload to reload the heat, because I made that mistake. Now there's a waffle unloaded on me. I made the mistake of seeing a waffle and thinking, oh, waffle Panzer 4, bang, auto, well, you know, just auto-aim snap at him. If I'd aimed, I would have been able to pen him for a lot more, but unfortunately I didn't. I made that mistake of just going, looking at what the target was too quickly and just snapping the shot at him. But this is where the armour changes has helped us, because well, if he was firing premium, we would have been dead there. He would have penned us every single time. But because he's firing standard, pre 7.1.1, he would have penned every shot there quite easily. By the way, filthy. Pen. Nice. Anyway, he would have penned us every time before 7.1.1 with the plus 25% pen and minus 10 RNG. But now he's not guaranteed to, especially with the buffs to the tank, because we've got 270mm of upper plate armour now, or hull armour generally. He's got 276 pen, which means he's like a 50-50 near enough to pen us. And add to that the pen RNG changes and stuff like that, it means he's not guaranteed to just go through us every time, which is really nice. The T-54 YOLOs us, pays the price. We end up tracking him, giving a little tap, slapping him in the side for a good amount of damage, and now we've got this Cranvarm coming round. Again, don't really need to aim, just slap a shot underneath his track. That'll keep him in place, stops him rushing towards us with his big clip, and also will do quite a bit of damage. I mean, we did like 560 odd damage to him there, just splashing underneath and tracking him in place. If he's firing standard, I'm pretty confident he's not going to pen me. The artillery gets spotted behind, which is why I hesitated for a moment there. But I decided, you know what, we're just going to close this Cranvarm, because even with his clip potential, unless he sets us on fire, he's not going to kill us. So I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just going to close the distance on this guy, try and see if I can get around one side of the rock. If I get his backside, I will pen that, and that will be juicy. And like I say, even if he rushes us, he's not going to kill us. And if we angle right, he might bounce one. So we slap a shot into his side for 570. We're swivelling round. Unfortunately, he pens us again. He's got one left. Potentially? No, he must just not have reloaded. He must have fired one earlier and then just not reloaded. And he came in with only 3 shells. He's now stuck reloading. We can reload at least 2 shells before him. And we end up penning him there, I think, for like 570 in the side, because we can pen his side. And he just made mistakes there. He just made mistakes completely. Honestly, some of the stuff we've been able to do with this tank has been so much dirt. It's really funny, actually, sometimes. When it's just when you pen things unexpectedly, and it just goes in, you're like, oh, yes. Or when you do get those shots that you're aiming for to pen that are sort of 50-50s and they go in and you do 1300 damage, you're like, oops. Anyway, we'll finish that game with 4 kills, 7.2k damage, 606 assisted, ace tanker, high caliber, the steel wall for the 3.6k blocked. Like I say, 649 base XP for 7.2k damage. That's the Type 5 Heavy with its buffs. It's a lot of fun to play now. I'm not sure about playing against, because you can play right and still get punished, but it is what it is. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!